What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is episode 25. So we've gotten to 25 episodes without me giving up. So I guess that's doing a pretty good job. And today we are joined with none other than a second-year journalism student at ASU, multimedia. She takes pictures. She runs social media pages. She really is a jack of all trades. Susan Wong. Susan, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It is Friday morning. Big news coming out of ASU today. Cal ASU game got canceled. So, yeah.
Why did it get canceled? COVID?
Yeah, I heard actually. It's a funny story because I actually overheard someone talking about this yesterday. I was just sitting in Cronkite in one of the computer labs, and I was just working it's probably on Zoom or something. And then I heard this kid just screaming over there, like, I heard there's 20 people that got COVID, and the game tomorrow's Saturday's gonna get canceled. And I was just sitting there he was like, this is internal. Like, he was talking to someone else, but he was screaming it, and I'm over here nosy. So I was like, hold on, did I hear that right? But I really hope everyone recovers well, because the cases are spiking and it's just not good. Because
Yeah, we gotta be the first to hear this stuff. That's the duty of journalism. So speaking of COVID, because this is the question that I've asked everybody that's come on here. We all kind of have had to stay at home at some point, or at least stay at home more. And everybody's kind of gotten some kind of new activity going. I mean, I've started doing some things. Have you picked up anything like a new hobby, something you find yourself doing a little bit more now that, or maybe not, because since you're at ASU and you're kind of occupied with school? Anything new going on with you since COVID?
honestly, I just have been a lot more busy, working, school, got involved in a bunch of organizations and clubs, so having to do a lot of that, a bunch of Zoom. I just feel like I'm just on Zoom all day. But I don't know. It's different. I don't know anything that I don't think I've really picked up anything new, honestly. It's just doing a lot more so.
Yeah. So growing up in San Francisco, what kind of prompted, your love affair with sports? How did you get involved? What did you kind of fall in love with when it came to athletics?
Yeah, well, my parents, neither of them were really into sports at all, so they were really surprised that I really had this love towards sports. I guess I started fourth and fifth grade playing volleyball, and then middle school I ran track, softball, soccer, everything except basketball, which is literally my biggest regret. Not playing basketball, I regret that to this day. It's middle school basketball, so it shouldn't have meant much, but I was just so intimidated, and I was too scared to play. So coming into my freshman year of high school, I actually tried to go try out for 2 days. I went to 2 boot camps or whatever, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm so intimidated, because obviously these girls have played club basketball their life. So it's okay, yeah, no, this is it for me. I ran cross country for 3 years, freshman through junior year. And then in the spring, I played flag football and ran track. Long story, I tore my ACL my freshman year playing flag football, so I didn't actually really run track that year. And then sophomore year recovered. Instead of really running track my sophomore year, I threw discus and shot put, but I still ran cross country in the fall. Junior year comes around, I'm fully recovered, ready to win a championship or something like that for flag football. So cross country season went well. We go into flag football. 3 days before the first game, I break my ankle, have to have surgery, and now I have a middle plate and 6 screws in my ankle. So, and then I was like, all right, recovered, do that, and then did shot put and discus towards the end of the season. Senior year comes around, I've been training and working out with the guys all summer in the weight room, lifting and stuff. And obviously, I went to Lowell. We didn't have a really big team at all. We didn't barely had enough players to have field the team. And I was interested in playing football with the guys, so I made a really big decision whether I should run cross country for the 4th year or switch to football. And funny, I literally made an Instagram poll and asked people should I play football or run cross country? And because people started to play football. So senior year I ended up playing football, and then spring I did track and flag football. So that is a very long story, but yeah, I've played sports for since I guess elementary school, I didn't realize, like, I don't know, my parents just never really into it. They didn't put me into any sports or anything, but I just found it as like a way, like an outlet for myself. Because I guess I had a lot of energy and anger as a kid, so it just like made sense for me to go into sports. So yeah, that was my way into sports.
Let's get back to football. So you and someone else made LOL history when you became the first female player in team history for football. Is that right?
Yeah, apparently it is. Like, there was it was our, I think it was a Friday night game, and I think it was up in Santa Rosa. I played receiver. We both, like, we practiced as receiver and safeties, but we both played as receivers. I think we played in the special teams that game, and throughout the season, I think we technically played receiver. Our team never threw the ball, so like literally we were just running out there as distractions. But it was fun. I think the game's like, experience was like, it wasn't as like, I feel like what I got the most out of playing football was practices and like bonding with the team, the coaches, like all the things that you really learn from football, like those lessons like really stuck with me. And it's one of the best decisions I ever made, like playing football. I mean, people are like, whenever I tell them, oh yeah, I played a season of football in high school, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, tackle football with the boys. And they're like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, some people don't even realize that you can do that. And I just was like, yeah, no, I thought it would be cool. And, I wanted to, get in shape for flag football season because that was my main sport. But it was a crazy experience. Like, I didn't, the crazy part, my dad, I don't think he's, to this day, knows that I ever played football. Like, this is, yeah, I don't think he knows, because this is this is probably not smart of me, but I made my mom sign my physical forms and told her it was for cross country. She doesn't speak, neither of my parents speak English, they wouldn't know. So I had her sign in, told her it was cross country, turned in my forms, first day of practice, and during practice, I'm like, shit, if I actually get injured, my mom is gonna find out, because they didn't want me to play any sports anymore after I already, had 2 major injuries within like 3-year span. They were like, no, you can't do any more sports. But like, obviously I went against and I went and played football, which is probably like the most it's like the most injury prone, I guess, and I'm already an injury prone person, so it's just like a lot of things. But it was definitely one of the most like fulfilling, most like coolest experiences I actually got to do. And like, having another girl there definitely helped, because we were able to like partner with each other during like drills and stuff, so I wouldn't have to go hit like 200-pound guys. Like, it made sense. And like, I was like, hey, if I play, will you play, so that I don't have to, because sometimes it's also like weird, because some guys are like, they don't want to hit the girls and stuff, so it's a whole thing. But it was definitely a really cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that's so great that they had no idea. Your parents had no idea what was going on.
I told my mom like the next day, I was like, shit, Mom, I'm playing football, but like, she was like trying to get me not to play and stuff, and like, I was trying to keep it from her, and she was like, we can't tell your dad. I was like, I know we can't tell him. I mean, so I don't think he ever found out. Most of my family honestly doesn't know. I think probably it's just my cousins, my brother, my mom knows everything. Everyone else probably just thinks that I played flag football. So I don't think they know that I played football, and it's kind of a little secret, but it's fun. It was fun.
Yeah, that's a great, like if you're ever playing like any like party games or whatever, that's something great to have in your back pocket just to throw. Yeah, I played football in high school. So that's definitely cool. And at the same time all this is going on, you were also the editor-in-chief for your high school newspaper. You were editor-in-chief for 3 years, is that right?
No. So I started out as a reporter my sophomore year. I didn't end up joining because I wanted to join my freshman year. I think it didn't work out with my schedule or something. So I didn't join until my sophomore year. Was a reporter. Honestly, my sophomore year, I think I worked on one story, but it was like a really big story. It had videos, graphics, everything. So like, that's all. Like, I really honestly spent most of my time playing Madden Mobile during journalism class. So I really wasn't doing much journalism work at the time. I just was like, I wanted to write and stuff. And then my junior year, I started getting into photo a little bit more because I was covering the football team. Actually, really funny story. No one else really wanted to cover sports. No one else really cared about sports in journalism. Obviously, I loved sports, and I was like, hey, I want to go cover this football. I want to cover football. We didn't have a photographer going, so I was like, let me bring a camera and go shoot the game while like, writing and stuff. So they're like, all right, go ahead. I'll props to you. And then I came back and they're like, oh my God, you're good at this. And I'm like, yeah, this is really fun. And then I guess I kind of shifted gears into, more photography, but I was still writing. And then with that, I guess came more responsibility as like, spring semester came along and I got promoted to sports editor. I guess not many people really cared about sports again. Like it was really hard to even try to get people to write about sports. And some of no offense to anyone, but some of it was like, what does this, like, this doesn't make sense. So it was kind of tough seeing that, but senior year comes around, since everyone knew that I was very multimedia, did a lot of the web stuff, especially with we got a new website my senior year, so I did a lot of the designing on that, and then page layouts for magazines and stuff. So yeah, I got promoted to EIC, and it was cool. It was a lot of work. I honestly can say I skipped classes to be in journalism. Like I would literally not go to my like other like normal classes and be in journalism all day. I would sit there in the journal room all day, and like it was like I honestly went to school so I could play sports and do journal. Like all I really went to school for my senior year. I honestly, like, my other classes, my attendance was really bad in all those other classes. I really only went to school to do journalism, which honestly worked out because I mean here I am now majoring in sports journalism. I don't know, that was a very long answer. I don't even know if I answered your question.
Oh, that's great. But no, I'm kind of, yeah, I definitely know the feeling of skipping class to cover a story or whatever. As you may know, Reardon, my high school, is actually co-ed now. So we broke that story, and I skipped a PE class. We had baseball workouts. I couldn't go to those. We ended up staying there till like 9, I think, at night, like waiting for the board meeting to be over, and we tracked down the president in his office. It was really cool. It was a really cool experience. It was like we were all like stake out, so it was like how they do it in the movies. So it was pretty awesome. And I actually found out, like I recognized your name when I first came across your Twitter page. I knew that Lowell was a pretty successful newspaper. So how important was managing the staff and getting that experience? How important did that help you when you transferred into college?
I think it really, really helped me because with the Lowell, we were a news magazine and online website, and we did a lot of social media stuff as well. So I was able to like shoot photos, edit magazine layouts, go to games, do social media. I mean, me and a friend like followed the girls basketball team to their playoff game out in like, I forgot where, but like we just followed them and did social media and like wrote stories, and it was just a cool experience where I got like a very all around like dipped my feet in everything, from design to like photos, like even a little bit of video, graphics, data. Like we did so many, oh my God, these surveys, like getting people to like fill out surveys, getting all that data back, inputting all the data, and then making graphs and charts and writing stories, editing, like all of that was very, very helpful in me coming to college. The only thing that obviously we didn't have was like broadcast. So like that was something I came into college really wanting to do. I mean, now I'm like, do I really want to do this? Because now it kind of shifted back to like, I really like going back to my like storytelling and photo like roots. And I'm like, kind of really like that. But it definitely like all the skills that I was able to acquire throughout that time, like really helped. I mean, honestly, it all started like in middle school. I was on yearbook. My 6th and 7th grade year, I was just like, one of the only like 6th and 7th graders on the yearbook staff. And then my 8th grade year, the advisor left, and then I was the only person that had ever done yearbook on that staff my 8th grade year. And that was like the first year that I literally had to like take charge and like honestly do a lot of it, because like our new advisor was like a 70-something-year-old like lady from like Florida. She didn't know anything. She didn't know anything about yearbook or anything. She was teaching English, and I guess she was assigned to do yearbook, and she had really no clue. And from then, I guess that's where like my designing photos, like not as much writing copy, but it was just like doing all that like really started, and that was like a really fun experience for me, and it's something I'm kind of proud of, because like I was in 8th grade, like I was like a 13-year-old kid doing all that. So I feel like that's where it really began to like me like trying to like learn all these type of different skills and stuff, because I think that's like one of my biggest goals is like being a jack of all trades, or Jill of all trades, I guess. Like having like experience doing all these different things, using all these different programs and stuff. It's just something that I really like want to be able to do,
So when did, because I know people that have wanted to do journalism all their life. My buddy Taylor Worth, who's the beat writer for the Niners and Giants for SF Bay, it kind of just came to him, like, he didn't know what he wanted to do, and that just kind of, in the middle of college, that kind of stuck out to him. Some people are failed player. Well, failed. That's not fair, because I would fall into that category. Some people are, ex-athletes that go into it. So what category do you fall into, and when did you start kind of getting the idea of this is what I want to do?
I think I fall in multiple categories, honestly. I did art for 4 years in high school, so I really loved graphic design, and then I guess I really fell in love with photography. So when I was applying to colleges, I applied for a bunch of different majors because I just had so many interests in all these different places. So everything from like environmental studies to like journalism in some places, communications, design, photography, like just a very wide variety. I just knew I wanted to go into that creative-ish field. And then I was like, okay, yeah, of course I love sports, and like, actually shout out to my friend Henry, because he's the one that like recommended that I apply for ASU, and he was like, the sports journalism schools are really cool, their deadline's in like July, so you have plenty of time to apply and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I'll check it out, So I guess I really wanted to go into journalism. I mean, I did it throughout high school, so I kind of knew like this was like a possibility. At that point, I kind of was thinking like, broadcast would be kind of cool, or even writing. And then I really got into like I started figuring out, sports social was kind of where I really wanted to head towards, like more recently, honestly. And because like I just was like, wow, I really liked being on social media, on Twitter, designing graphics, photos, and like that was like, that was like, it encompassed a lot of the skills that I had and that I really, wanted to work on. So in that sense, I've kind of shifted a little bit from like the traditional journalism to more of like the social media side of it. But I think, I don't know, like I don't have like a specific when I really wanted to start doing journalism, but I guess like I did play a bunch of sports. I guess I was the ex-athlete thing really makes sense. I know a lot of my peers are also also ex-athletes who obviously couldn't make it to the college level and beyond. And obviously sports journalism is a way like for us to be able to stick into sports. I think that's what like I really looked at. I was like, being in sports journalism would allow me to stay in the sports world without actually playing the sport, and I could cover the sports, and still, be able to do all these different things surrounding sports, which I really want to, keep doing no matter what. Yeah.
That's my thinking completely. So is there any news or media people that you kind of look up to, that maybe that you read, you look at their pictures quite a bit? Is there anybody that you kind of look up to in the industry?
I guess from the beginning, I guess Maria Taylor, I think she's just such an icon, and, like as like a Black broadcaster, and like she just does so many cool things. I mean, there's a lot of people in the industry that I really look up to. I honestly cannot think of names right now for some reason, but there's just so many people that I follow on Twitter that I'm like, oh my God, what's her name? Bree Lewerke. She's a photographer. Like she does a lot of basketball stuff. There's a lot of people, and I just cannot name off my head right now. But yeah, there's a lot, like, if I go on like Twitter, like there's so many people that are in the sports world, sports industry in general, like whether they're like sports marketing, sports PR, all that. I just honestly think that anyone that is up there, I'm just like, every time someone like kind of big follows me on Twitter, follows me back on Twitter, I'm like, oh my God, like I freak out, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then it's just like, they're just a regular person that, is on Twitter. Like, I just have to like tell myself that, but it's like, I've looked up to this person for a long time, blah, 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 blah. And like, it's just funny. Like, it's like, wow, like I'm definitely like, starting to like grow my brand and stuff. So like making myself like more known, trying to get myself out there, get my work out there. But there's quite a few people. There's a lot of like really dope social media people that I really look up to. And a lot of people in AAJA actually, like, I guess, like, I kind of found them this summer through their virtual convention, through AAJA's fest. And a lot of them in the sports task force are super dope people, and they're just, like, really awesome, and they've done some amazing stuff. So it's just, like, a lot of people to look up to, and a lot of big shoes to fill as the next generation comes in and, fills in these spots. But it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me about Cronkite, because that's somewhere where definitely I'm thinking about transferring into pretty soon. Um, Given a kind of an assessment on it, what's it like? What's the culture like? And how would you tell any aspiring person that wants to get into journalism to go there?
I definitely recommend it. I mean, especially if you're trying to do sports journalism, I think in Phoenix we have all the four major sports. So, and you have ASU sports. I mean, obviously right now with COVID, everything sucks. But if we like put COVID aside, I mean, my freshman year, I was able to. A lot of people, all of my peers were able to come in first day, be able to shoot games, make video packages, write stories, like all of that your first day, and have access to all these ASU players on these different teams, and just being able to like learn from the first day. I think it's like a very like boot campy like training. They train you from the first day, so you're not just listening to like journalism lectures all day. Obviously you do have some of that, but you really like get your hands on, and that's what I really love about Cronkite. I guess the culture, it's all right. I think it's very, I mean, this field is very white male dominated. I always say that, but it's true. It's I don't know. I definitely do very much enjoy my experience here, though. I really feel like I learned a lot just in my first year at ASU, at Cronkite, actually. And I was able to shoot like a dozen different like games. I got to go shoot the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament, which was like crazy. It was like a cool, super dope experience for me. And I don't know, you just get a lot of experiences here that I feel like other journalism schools that may not have a sports focus, like as much of a sports focus on, I guess. And I don't know, it's in a cool place. We're not that far from Tempe. It's like a 40-minute light rail. So game days are great, and it's weather's nice. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I like it. Haven't
Yeah,
transferred out there.
what's the biggest, and by the way, good to know that I don't that I don't really help the demographics there. No, but so what is kind of the difference coming from San Francisco? I know you mentioned weather, and that's probably the big one. I know a few people that have gone there. That's probably the big one that people mention is weather. Is there anything else like big difference compared to San Francisco and Phoenix area?
I guess I had a little bit of reverse culture shock. I mean, a lot of people I know here that came from very white dominated like areas, or like in the suburbs or in the middle America and stuff like that, or just different places. Cause I mean, SF is super diverse. I mean, I went to a high school that was 60% Asian, which obviously is not very diverse in that sense. But like, it was just like coming from a place where, it was mostly not white people coming here and it's mostly white people. That was like a reverse culture shock for me. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is kind of weird. But I guess I was really very lucky and blessed to be able to find a group of friends that are like very diverse and stuff. And I don't know, that was like my culture shock. I guess the weather also hit really hard for me because coming from SF where it's like 50, 60 degrees and we're like, that's regular hoodie weather. And now, I mean, honestly, I love the weather here because I like the heat. And it just, I don't know, it was really hot in the first, like, I think my freshman year, because we were out a lot because we didn't have COVID, like trying to block us from doing anything. Game days were like, we were just it was like a sauna. Like it was thousands and thousands of people stuck in like a little like student section, and it was just, everyone was like soaked and everything. It was like 15 degrees and stuff. And I guess we didn't have that experience this year, so I can't really complain about it being so hot right now, because right now it just cooled back down. It's in like the 60s and 50s again. But I think the weather was like a big draw too, because I really also like, when I was like looking at colleges, I really also wanted to go to Oregon. I think that was like the school that I was like dreaming about going, because like Oregon sports are like, I don't know, I just looked up to that. And then I was like, but it rains all year and I hate the rain. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna go to Arizona. And it was just funny how it all worked out for me to go to Cronkite. I literally applied to like 16 schools, I think. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I just didn't do much research on each school. I just was like, let me just click all the buttons, especially on the CSUs and UCs. I just like click. And I was like, whoever accepts me, I'll decide then. So it narrowed me down to like SDSU, ASU, and Oregon. And I was like, well, I applied to ASU the last. They got back to me the first. Like it was kind of like, is this fate? Like, they gave me a scholarship. Like no other school really gave me a scholarship. So I was like, you know what? I'll consider it. I'll go to Phoenix, Arizona, which I never imagined growing up in San Francisco. I thought I was gonna go to UC or CSU. Like I never really imagined like leaving California, but it was kind of also really wanted to leave that SF bubble to like really get a sense of what the rest of the country is really like. Because I knew once I go into the real world and start working and stuff, I'm gonna have to experience, you know, not outside of the SF bubble or outside of the Bay Area bubble where things are a little different up there.
So you're telling me that there's a bubble outside California and in San Francisco? No, I'm just kidding. So I know you probably mentioned this, but out of all the things you do, writing, multimedia, photos, social media, what would kind of be your dream job? Like dream job in sports media? Just I'll give you the go ahead here. Just dream big here. Okay. Dream gig in sports media.
I really want to do like something that's like social media for like a team or a network or something. I think a team would be more fun, like traveling with a team, doing social media, photo, graphics, digital, like all of that. Like I think that could combine a lot of different things that I really like, because photo is something that I really like. You know, there's obviously a little bit of writing to it. There's like storytelling, and I need to work on my video skills, honestly. But like graphics, I love that. I just love social media. So I mean, I'm on my phone all day. I'm on Twitter all day. Like it's a whole thing. But like that is like kind of my dream. I really like earlier on, I really wanted to like do broadcast and go into that route and like do reporting and stuff. But I just feel like I just kind of hate writing on deadline. Honestly, like I hate it. I just freak out and I'm like, oh my God, I have so many good interviews. I don't know what to put in. And it just is like crazy. But yeah, I think social media sports is like, that's the realm it's the realm I really want to go in. Whatever, I don't know what exactly dream job, like exactly to that dimension, but I guess just anything in that sense, especially with the team. NFL, NBA, that'd be really dope. Honestly, like football, basketball, and track and field are like my big three sports. So we'll see where I
Yeah,
go.
there's some professional teams that have really good like social media presence. Like you could tell that the person running them is just really fun. And then there's some teams that just need a lot of work, and then you could tell. So that's definitely a good route
Yeah,
to
the
go down.
Suns, bubble Suns, and it's, you know, the coolest thing is all three of the people that are on, I think, that are on their social team are all Cronkite alum, and I thought that was just so cool. And we actually, I think Cronkite hosted a panel where they came and talked to us, but it was just like, oh my God, because everyone loved Suns. Like their Twitter is just the funniest thing ever, like especially when they're in the bubble. It was hilarious. Also King's Twitter is really good too. There's a couple teams that you know are really, they stand out to me, and there's a couple teams that, you know, they're kind of forgotten.
Yeah,
No
it's
offense to those
crazy.
people.
It's really crazy because if you look back like 15 years ago, this wasn't even a job, and now like it's amazing how much it's grown. And they do a lot. Like I've seen a documentary about, um, I don't know if it was a full length documentary. It was like a little short video about the Red Sox social media team and what they did. And I mean, they were on their feet all day, and it looked like a lot of fun. So I think that's a really cool job. So in terms of taking pictures, take me through kind of an athletic event, how you would get ready, like a routine to get ready, to get yourself in position for shooting a game.
I miss having that routine so much. I mean, I get to shoot a volleyball playoff game tomorrow, which I'm so happy about. But like spring semester last year, so like early this year, before COVID, so like January, February time, I was over in Tempe every weekend shooting like 5-6 events. Like every Saturday, Sunday, I would literally leave in the morning. So I'd have all my gear packed up, with my backpack, laptop, SD cards, phone chargers, hard drive, laptop chargers, like everything, all the gear, you know, ready to go. Either light rail or Uber out to Tempe, and I would go, you know, whatever it was. Like it was water polo, basketball. I shot mostly women's basketball, but I also shot like, I don't know, tennis, softball, different things, whatever it was. So I'd go out there, get set up in the media room, get my settings ready, especially if it was like a basketball game, I'd go in the gym, you know, during warm-ups or whatever, shoot around. Maybe sometimes I would like quickly post some stuff onto social. And then I guess game would start. And what I would really try to do would be, you know, shoot the game, but I also really wanted to post it on, like, post updates on like social media as well, like to like, you know, really put in that, so like put in like my multimedia aspect of it. So I'm not just like shooting games the whole game. I really wanted to like post stuff on social, post graphics, or like just game updates and stuff, or like kind of live tweeting the game. I just wouldn't be able to like fully live tweet. I would do like, quarter updates and stuff like that. And like try to put in photos as well, like right away from the camera. It was really fun. Like I really enjoyed like that adrenaline of having to do all those different things. Sitting at the baseline waiting for the Wi-Fi to load or different things like that. It just is like, or waiting for the photos to like upload and stuff. It was crazy. It was hectic, but I really liked that I really had that process. And right now I shot a couple events and games. I shot a volleyball and a cross country meet, 2 cross country meets actually, since we've come back so this semester. And I feel like I've been a little bit off. Like I just haven't before that I hadn't shot like a game in like 6 months. So I just feel like my skills have been a little dropped off a little, my process a little bit off, like going back into like editing, or like I usually at those basketball games, I would like shoot photos while there was timeout or whatever. I would delete the ones I didn't like really quickly, continue shooting so I wouldn't have so much look through at the end of the game, because we would need the photos like right after the game so they could get uploaded with the stories, because I was working with a writer and they would write the story. I would send them the photos and it would all get published like a couple hours after the game and stuff. So it was like a very like go boom boom process, and I really miss that, because I think that was the fun of it. And I would be in Tempe sometimes from like the morning all the way until like 11 p.m. and then I would just go, like if the game was over, I would go like sit at Starbucks and like edit or like sit in Tempe, just editing on my laptop, getting it all up, and then going on. Like it was so fun. Like I really missed that. Like honestly, at that point I didn't really have a social life. I literally spent all of my time during the week at school, whatever, work, blah blah blah, and then weekends was all dedicated to going out and shooting games, and it was so fun. Like I really miss that, having the chance to go every weekend to go shoot different sports. Like I tried to go to as variety of sports as possible. I never shot a hockey game. I never even attended a hockey game before that. So I got to go shoot like a hockey game. Swimming, water polo, tennis, variety. It was really fun. Really miss it. Gymnastics. Yeah, I never shot gymnastics before either. So that was a very fun one.
Yeah, sounds a ton of fun. So I read your resume, and it's probably the neatest in preparing for this interview. It's probably the neatest resume I've ever seen ever. It's like all put together. And I mentioned that you're fluent in Mandarin and Cantonese. So that's extremely valuable, especially since there's a ton of need for bilingual reporters and media people. So have you had to kind of use that in your professional career yet?
I have not that I remember. I really wish I could. I know here at ASU, they do have a bilingual program, but it's in Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. I took a semester of Spanish in high school, dropped it so that I could have the first period off because I just could not get to school in time ever. My time management skills are not there. But it was Chinese and Mandarin, because I'm a native Cantonese speaker. I grew up speaking it. It was my first language. And then I did Mandarin, like I learned Mandarin through Chinese school for like 12 years. So like every Saturday, I had Saturdays and sometimes even Sundays, I had Chinese school. And that was throughout my entire schooling up until like my senior year or junior, senior year, I think. So I like Chinese Mandarin are like, it's my secret weapon. It's in the toolbox in case I need it. And I've always like, even when I was in high school, I was dreaming. I was like, hey, like I could honestly, if journalism doesn't work out, I can go be a translator or something like that. Or like, even like, I know like NFL and NBA are really like popping up in China right now. And like going and doing that would be super cool. It was a funny story. I met someone at the Pac-12 tournament who does a lot of like stuff for like, I think he's like Pac-12 China or something like that. So he actually went to ASU and stuff. And so he like does content and stuff in Chinese and English. And I was like, that's really cool. Like I definitely could look into that. One thing I am afraid of is I don't really, because no one really here is speaking Chinese to me. So I feel like I'm going to lose it out here because I'm not using it as much, which is like, I'm like, oh my God, I need to like use it more or else I'm going to lose it. But yeah, it's definitely a super valuable skill. And going back to the resume thing, I'm like a super, like, it took me, if you see my earliest versions of my resumes, it was a joke. But like that one, I guess I started, like, it was like, I honestly probably pulled an all-nighter in one of the editing bays in Cronkite, sat there all night. I was like, I need to re-edit. It's probably for like I don't know, I was probably applying for like something. And I was like, I need to make my resume look really nice and stuff. Sat there for hours, designing the entire thing on InDesign, like just slowly going at it and like making sure all the lines are like straight, the spacing is even, like all of that. I just was like super into like, you know, making all, I guess I really like doing it in high school too with like page design and stuff for these magazines. I could sit there for hours just fixing little things and people would be so frustrated, but I was like, I love InDesign. Like I will use that over like Illustrator, Photoshop and stuff like that. People are just like, why would you use InDesign? Like you have Illustrator and stuff, but I'm like, I love InDesign. Like it just makes so much sense to me. Like everything has to be like straight and like everything. Yeah, I kind of obsessed over it. It was
I'm horrible at InDesign, really, really bad. So whenever in high school they would ask, we would have work days and we would have the days where we'd have to get everything done for the newspaper. That was like the choking moment right there. So that was InDesign. I gotta learn
my
it.
favorite thing.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I gotta figure it out soon. And back to the Spanish thing. Yeah, that's why I think that the Mandarin and Cantonese it's extremely valuable. I think because everybody's running towards Spanish. I mean, that's what I was told to do, and I took 2 years of Spanish, and it was so rough. It's so hard learning another language.
It's hard learning it at an older age. I think since I was exposed to it at a really young age, because Cantonese and Mandarin sound entirely different. Like Cantonese, I was speaking it and stuff. It just made it easier for me to learn Mandarin and stuff. But for example, like my brother, he wasn't really into learning it at all. Like right now, he's struggling to speak with my parents because he can't really speak Cantonese or even like Chinese at all. It just kind of sucks because it's like I'm glad that like my parents like forced me to do Chinese school and forced me to learn all of it because I really like honestly I enjoyed it and I knew from the beginning that this was valuable and it was going to be important in the future because I knew how things were looking, economy, blah blah blah. Like I was as a kid I guess as the older child I was like always like that always like made me more independent in that sense. And I was always thinking with that mindset, like having to like help my parents like translate documents or mail, whatever. I was always like doing all that. Like I grew up really like I guess I like matured really young, like having to do all that for my parents and stuff. So my brother got really lucky, I guess, and now kind of like turned, I don't know, it kind of flipped on him because now he doesn't really understand Chinese. So it kind of sucks in that sense. So that's why I like recommend for like parents and stuff to like put their kids in a language like earlier on because once you get to high school, it's so hard to learn it. Because I know so many people in my high school really tried to get into like a language like because you know you're forced to take a language in high school. It just was like really difficult and you have to take a language in college and I got super lucky because I took AP Chinese and that knocked out 20 credits for me. Straight up, I like basically skipped a year of college, saved like that much money, and that's why like now I'm on track to graduate in 4 years with 2 degrees because I was able to save all that time not like taking this dumb language. Like everyone dreads taking Spanish here. Like everyone that I know is like, oh my god, it's like the worst. Like it's all online and it's all blah blah. And I'm like, I'm so glad that I was exposed to learning Chinese at a young age. Was able to take the AP Chinese test and like completely knock that out because it saved me a whole year of college. Like that just like wow.
Yeah, that's great. I'm limited to Mi llamo Steven. You too? That's kind of my
That's
could
how much Spanish I know.
yeah, I could introduce myself to people, but I mean, good luck after that. Anyways, I have some rapid fire to end it here. I have 4 rapid fire questions here, and I don't know why I call them rapid fire. You can take your time answering these. First of all, what TV show could you watch all day? And I know you don't have I know your time's kind of limited, but TV show that you could watch all day. Let's hear it.
I really used to be into Quantico and Blind Spot. I think both those shows ended, so right now I'm watching This Is Us as it comes out. Like it's such a great show. Makes me cry. What else have I been binging? I don't know. I just binge. I honestly feel like I don't watch that much shows or movies or anything. Oh my, this is not rapid fire at all. But yeah, I just watch whatever is like on Netflix once in a while. Whatever people recommend. Not
Yeah,
really not
for sure.
really, like, I don't have like I think the only show that like had a bunch of seasons that I watched like was probably like The Fosters. I was into Criminal Minds for a while. I really need to I haven't watched like the entire like series. I need to start from the beginning. I've watched like different episodes here and there. So yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch that too. Next one. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Oh god, this is a hard one. I want to go everywhere. That's I literally want to go everywhere. That's I guess that's my answer.
That's a good answer. All right. What is played heavily on your playlist right now?
I've been listening to the new Future and Uzi album, the Big Pluto X, Baby Pluto, Baby Pluto X. I don't remember what it's called, but that whole album. What else is? Yeah, I think that's most recently. I just because it came out last night and I just been playing it all day because like, oh my god, this is so good. So yeah, I'm a huge Uzi fan. Like I've been listening to him since like high school, like probably like maybe middle school and freshman year. I was super into him, and before he even blew up, and I'm like I was there in the beginning, like when it all started. So it's pretty cool.
And final question for you before we wrap up here. What is one thing on your bucket list
Oh man, this
that
is
you want to
hard.
complete?
I guess I want to shoot a Super Bowl. I want to shoot an NBA Finals, an Olympics, something like that. That'd be kind of cool. Or like cover one of those, like cover all the big sports championships and finals events, stuff like that.
That's a great one. Yeah. My like under the radar one that's possible right now would probably be kayaking in McCovey Cove during a Giants game. That there's when it was really hot, like and the Giants were in town that 1 week this year where it was really hot, I missed an opportunity and I can never forgive myself. But there's time. I'm gonna do it at some point. It's gonna be great. And
I also really want to go skydiving.
that's a good one. That's a good one too. I would
That's
definitely go
just a basic
skydiving.
answer though. That's what I feel like everyone would say. So I was like, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, skydiving's a good one for sure. All right, Susan, thank you so much for joining me on RizzoCast. I appreciate it. Where can people find you? Where do you want to plug yourself?
Yeah, my Twitter is @SusanS1_ because I can't get the one without the underscore because the person that uses it does not have any posts or anything. It's just frustrating because I'm and on Instagram @SusanS_Wong and my photo account is @SusanS_Wong photo. So that's where you can find me.
Great. And you guys could follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram @RizzoCast. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.